What's up, guys and gals? Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Getting ready for New Year's, and today we need to talk about something that is a little overdue. Actually, a lot overdue. You guys noticed finally got this together, and I'm doing a video on it. Well, actually it's been together for quite a few months, but you guys know how it is. Life gets busy and you have things you have to take care of, and sometimes your hobbies get put on the back burner a little bit. But I just want to give you guys my thoughts on this build here. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the only other build that I've ever done with an Align helicopter was the 470 LP that I had, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that this one and the 470 were both great kits. They went together perfect. You know, everything lined up right. All the machine parts fit perfectly. I did go through and, you know, soak all the screws in acetone, and the all the aluminum parts that are threaded, they get machine screws in them. I soaked those in acetone so that the blue thread locker would bite. Went through and put all the looping or the shielding over the servo wires, and just really took my time making sure that, you know, it was all nice and tidy. There's not a lot of room on the inside. That's why a lot of my wires are kind of going on the outside. But I'm going to get ready. We're going to talk about this for a minute here. We're going to discuss some of the pros and cons that I found on this. And there's not really a lot to say about the kit. The majority of my gripes are going to be with this, with the Microbeast. I'll get into that in just a second here. Right out the gate here, you know, the quality of the kit, it's good. Like I said, the part fit is fantastic. There's a few things that I did, you know, want to point out. You know, like I said, I've had, you know, this kit. I had the Align kit that was a 470 LP, and I had an older Thunder Tiger Raptor 50 kit, and some of the kits, they give you this rinky-dink little metal push rod with these little clamps that go on the boom that are like guide clamps. I was really excited to see that this actually had a carbon fiber push rod, because this is the first upgrade that I did on all my other helicopters that had any kind of just a little thin metal push rod like what you find in airplanes for like the elevator and the rudder and everything. So that was the first thing that I would upgrade. But I was really pleased to see that they did that. And the tail boom is really beefy too, and the mount block is really big. I like the system that they've the design that they've come out with for this is pretty cool. Now, I do want to let you guys know that, you know, I haven't flown this yet, so any of the gripes and the things that I've got today, they're kind of just from a beginner's standpoint. You know, how well they hold up, you know, I'm sure they hold up just fine. I've seen videos of guys doing 3D flight that fly the bejesus out of these things, and they fly 10,000 times better than I do. But just everything that I'm giving an opinion on today is just strictly from a beginner's point of view, and that's where most of my gripes come from with the Microbeast. The number one con about this whole thing is the Microbeast. I'll go into detail on that in just a second. Another thing about this is I don't understand why they did it, especially nowadays when everybody's going to direct drive, where they have the brushless motor is directly driven into the main shaft. It's directly connected to the main shaft, like the Goose Guy and a couple of others. I don't understand why that Align went the route that they went on this. If you download the manual and you look at it, you'll see there's a lot more pulleys. There's actually a drive belt in here that connects the pinion from the motor to a gear that's on this main shaft. So they added a lot of excess parts in here, in my opinion, that they really didn't have to do. Now the 470 LP didn't have that second belt right there. It just had, it was gear driven. It had a pinion on the motor, and the motor, there was a gear here, and the motor just sat there, and the two gears, you know, meshed together, and it drove the main shaft directly off the pinion on the motor. This one isn't like that. This one is just really weird. It's got, you know, a second belt over here, and you got to make adjustments. You got to loosen this. When you want to adjust your belt tension, you can slide it back and forth. That just seems to me like that's just more parts to fail. It's another belt to wear out. It's something else that you would have to buy. I would like to see a line maybe in the future. But then again, this is probably just a preference, you know. I think the direct drive brushless motors would be a better option, probably more maintenance free, you know, a lot less moving parts, a lot less things to go wrong, a lot less parts to tear up and wear out. I just think that would be a better idea. That's the one area that when I was putting it together, I noticed it was different from the 470, and I don't really know what their thinking was on that. Another little gripe that I have here, and this is useless, and it's just a gripe, I don't know. You guys watch one of my videos about how I like to twist my servo wires just to kind of help with any RF interference. This little channel that they give you here, they tell you to run the wires for the servo through there, and it comes down and does whatever. Yeah, that ain't working. That thing's barely big enough to even put one wire when it's not twisted, but then when you twist the wire, it's useless. Right now mine, that piece is just in there and there's nothing in it. I'm not really sure if I could have just left it out. I probably could have, but I put it in there anyway. As you can see, my wire comes out through here and turns. I had to safety zip tie it here to keep it out of the gear. But I went through and, you know, I trimmed all my servo wires to the length that I needed so I wouldn't have to coil any up or anything like that. The last gripe that I have with this, and it kind of goes, I don't know, it's kind of like a what were they thinking kind of thing with this, like this belt, the second belt. But this, let's see if I can get up here, this tensioner right here, this little tensioner idler pulley arm right here, to me is just kind of pointless. I like the old design of the 470 LP where it had an idler on this side and it had one over here on this side, and it had a fixed screw and the pulleys were, you know, like on a track, and if you loosen the screw or turn it counterclockwise, the pulley would go in and tighten the belt. If you screwed it clockwise, it would pretty much draw the pulley out and loosen. I thought that was a much better design. The problem with this one is there's a little coil spring that you have to wind up, that you have to kind of bend it around and put it into a hole. The wire on that coil spring is super thin, and try to think of something to compare it to. I mean, the spring that's in the end of a ballpoint pen is stronger than this thing is. I mean, you see it popping back now. That's only because I'm pushing against the belt and it pops back. That little spring is weak. I have no idea what, I don't know what they were thinking. It just doesn't seem like it's a very strong, robust tensioner. It doesn't seem like it's going to take a lot of slack out. You guys probably noticed at the beginning of the video, I was running this on my workbench with no blades in it. Just had a battery in, and I was just letting it sit here run. I've done that about 4 times now, just to kind of help break everything in. There's a lot of reasons why to do that. So, you know, some folks probably say, you know, you shouldn't do that or anything, but it's not going to hurt anything as long as you don't run it wide open. The video that I had, or the little segment that I had at the beginning of the video, it was running at the lowest speed that I could set my radio at. This ESC will only kick the blades in once you get past, I think it's like 43% on your throttle. So, you know, I move my stick up to 45, it kicks it in, and it runs it at a certain percentage. It's very low. But the main reason why I wanted to do that is so, number one, it would break in stuff, you know, it would you know, give everything a chance to mesh and, you know, jive and break in and get worked in. But I wanted to do it without the blades on, because when you don't have the blades on, it's a lot quieter. And when the blades are on, they're beating the air to death, they're making a lot of noise. But when you don't have them on, you can really hear what's going on with all the moving parts. Is there anything grinding? Is there anything ticking? Is there anything going crazy? Something sounds like it shouldn't. And that's what happened, getting back to my gripe about this tensiometer here. The first run that I did, I had everything set. I had my tail belt tension set. I had everything good. Put the battery in it, and I run it for about 15 minutes. Took the battery out, and then when I went to run it a second time, I heard a noise. I heard a tinging, kind of like a pinging noise. And what it was the belt had actually worked loose. Maybe it stretched. I mean, these were already tight, so it wasn't the boom sliding in. It was just things breaking in, settling, and the belt stretched, and it started slapping the inside of the tail boom. It was just kind of going ting, 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 ting. It was real faint, but I could hear it. Now, if I would have had blades on, I never would have heard that. So when I come down here and I looked as it was running, this little idler pulley right here was just kind of just jumping around, just going crazy. As that belt was sitting there slapping, it was kind of just pushing this little tensiometer, this little belt tensioner. It was kind of just jumping in around, and the belt was flapping around, and it was just kind of, the belt was just, you know, having its way with it, just beating it around however it needed to do. So the spring that's in this isn't strong enough to put tension against the belt and hold it there. So I think they would have been better to just leave the old style alone and just, you know, leave it where we can make adjustments to tension it, you know, to tighten it in, keep an eye on the belt, and that system, you know, seemed to work pretty well. I just don't understand why they would put such a lightweight spring in there that really doesn't do a whole lot as far as that goes. So with all that being said, you know, the kit's great. Everything went together good. The servos mount in. Everything's fantastic. I did buy the programmer for the Hobby Wing ESC. I would recommend that you get that. You can go through and do your update for your firmware, and, you know, go ahead and check all your settings and all your brake and everything. But on to my my biggest gripe of this, and I've actually thought about doing this in a separate video, but the more I thought about it, I was really got thinking that, you know, I could turn that video into a gripe fest that would probably last about an hour. I am really, well, before I even start bitching and moaning about the Microbeast, let me just say that I haven't flown it yet, so nothing that I say I'm really knocking anything about its flight performance. I'm sure there's people out there that'll probably swear by these and say this is the best flight controller that you can buy, or it's fly barless controller. They'll probably say it's the best one you can buy on the market, and there are people that'll swear by it, and it'll probably be a big knockdown drag out in the comment section, which, you know, that's fine. Everybody's got their opinion. Everything that I'm going to talk about here, like I said at the beginning when I was talking about assembling the heli, is strictly from a beginner point of view, and the experience that I had while I was installing it and setting it up. I'm sure it flies great. It's been around for years and years, you know, and a lot of people swear by them. I'm sure it's a great fly barless unit, but kind of looking around nowadays, the technology has gotten way better, and I think there's probably better options that are not quite so outdated, and I'm just gonna say that. But with the Microbeast, right out of the gate, the hardest problem that I had with this was trying to figure out what version firmware I had on it. Now I have version 5.9.9, which is the latest firmware today at the time that I filmed this video. All the videos that I found on YouTube were really old videos, like 10 to 12 years old. There might have been a couple that was like a year or two old, but there was very few of them. The majority of the good videos on there were 10 to 12 years old, and they were all about software and options that were, you know, many firmware versions ago. That should have been the first red flag that I had. So right out of the gate, whenever I opened up, let's set this out of the way, this little quick firmware, you know, quick reference card came in the kit with the Microbeast. So I told you I've got 5.9.9. I have updated that since I got it, but I believe it was like 5.87 or something like that when I got it. But I don't know if you can see this or not, but that says version 5.2. See right there, 5.2. So it's what good is this? That does me no good. Especially there's something that I found with this. They all the different firmware versions and the manuals, a lot of them say this is for only firmware version 5.5 and up, or this is one right here is for 5.2. So they're very specific about their firmware versions and the manuals that they print out. Now, the Microbeast wiki page has, you know, it does have a lot of information on it. But that's where kind of part of the struggle, I call it a struggle. That's where a lot of the struggle started off for me. The Wikipedia page is kind of a joke. Now, months ago, whenever I was putting this together, and when I got to the point where I mounted the Microbeast and I was setting it up, the Wikipedia page had not been updated. I think it was at like version 5.6 or something like that. Today I just checked it before filming this video, and it has been updated. So now it says the newest version is 5.9.9. But if you go through the wormhole, which that's one thing I hate about Wikipedia, they have a plethora of clickable links. You get lost in a wormhole of clickable links that is absolutely annoying. It is the most, I can't begin to tell you guys how much of a frustration it is to click on this link, to click on that link, to click on this link, and it keeps leading you down this wormhole. And then when you need to get back to what you were reading before, it's hard to find your way back. You have to go all the way back to the beginning and navigate down through, you know, the menu to figure out where you were. It's not a great way to do. It's not a great way to do like an owner's manual or a setup guide, and a lot of the information is outdated. That was my. Guys, I really wish you could just feel my frustration with that Wikipedia. I'm an old timer. I like a manual. Give me a manual. I can put it in front of me. I can read it, or like a PDF. You know, a PDF I can download. You know, all of my equipment for all of my RC stuff, any of my hand tools, my yard tools, anything. I go online, I download a PDF from the manufacturer, and I save it in folders on my computer. I have a huge folder with RC manuals, everything from ESCs to airplane build manuals, RC car Tamiya manuals, my Futaba T18MZ manual. I have a digital copy of it, and it's great to just, you know, hit Control F and it'll pop up a search window. You type in what you want and it'll take you right to it. That Wikipedia stuff is a pain in the arse. I'm just going to say that right then and there. So right out of the gate, you have to decide or have to figure out what firmware is on your Microbeast. So if you don't have the Bluetooth module, which I'm getting into that in just a second, if you don't have a Bluetooth module or that little USB module to plug it in, they say there's a way, and there is. When you first power up the Microbeast, for 3 seconds it'll give you a series of lights. So mine, I believe mine was like A and C was lit up, and one of the other lights over here was lit up. I couldn't remember. I had no way of knowing how in the world to read that or how to decipher that as being a firmware version. So somewhere down deep in the wormhole of Wikipedia, I found an explanation, which, by the way, I haven't been able to find it again because, like I said, Wikipedia is it's like trying to find your way through an ant farm. But they tried to explain to you how to decipher binary and how to read binary, you know, code. Like the A and the C, if those two are lit up, that's 5. So that's your main firmware version. And then like if I over here is lit up, like let's say that would be 5.4, but then like a 5.7 might be an A and a C and a K lit up, but nowhere does it tell you that. It doesn't tell you anything. And in that little rinky-dink little way that they tried to describe how to decipher binary made 0 sense. Now, you know, I'm no super genius, but I'm not a big dumbass either, and I'm familiar with binary and I know how to do it, but the way that they described it did not align with anything that I had going on up here. So I dealt with that for a long time, for probably about 3 or 4 days, trying to figure out just what firmware version I had, and I couldn't freaking figure it out. I dug all through Wikipedia, couldn't find anything except for that one little paragraph that kind of half-ass explained it. So what I wound up having to do is just bit the bullet and bought the Bluetooth manual now, or not the Bluetooth manual, the Bluetooth little module thingy right here, which this is my lead. They don't even give you a lead. This thing is $50 freaking $50 for this. Now, I could have went with the USB, but I didn't really want to be tied to where I had to hook it up to a PC. I didn't want to have to carry a PC out into the field, so I opted to get this so that I could hook it up to my phone through the app. I am glad to report, however, that at least the damn thing worked. Whenever I plugged it in, I bound it to my phone, opened up the app. It worked as it was supposed to, because you want to talk about somebody who would have been one pissed off individual if I'd have spent $50 on this and then the app was a turd. That would have really pissed me off. But with this, it was easy to see, you know, what my firmware version was. Like I said, I think it was like 5.8 or something. Then I could go ahead and wirelessly do my update. That's another gripe. You can't update this without buying one of these or the USB thing. I think the USB thing is like in the $20-some range. I can't remember. But it's still money you got to spend just to do an update of the firmware. That's aggravating. That's just, it's wrong. It's bad business, you know. once you figure out what your version is, now, you know, I know some of you are probably going to say, well, you know, according to the manual, you don't have to have this. You can go through the little onboard light menu. This little light menu, yes, you can, you know, hold the button, cut it on, and, you know, this letter right here flashes, and that's this particular program, and this one flashes, and that's that particular program. That's how I initially set it up. And that's a bigger pain in the ass than the Wikipedia is, because if you screw something up, you have to go all the way back, turn it off, you have to go all the way back and go through the whole damn thing again, scroll through the whole thing just to get back to where you were at. It can be done. I'm not going to lie, it can be done. Do you want to do it that way? I guess it just depends on how much you want to hold on to your $50 or $20 or whatever money you're going to spend on something like this to get it programmed. Me, yeah, it was $50, but after screwing with this, trying to program this, and being able to figure out what software I had and being able to update it, yeah, you know, was it worth it? I don't think it's worth $50, but it was definitely something that I needed to get. I've done lost my track of my mode of thinking here. When you try to read these lights and you try to do the whole programming thing, you know, by the end of the day, you get one good session of trying to do that, you're gonna be ready to eat a bullet. So like I said, it's just better off to just buy this, or, you know, get something else. And like I said, this adapter is $50, man, $50. But look at this. So let me pull this over here. This is my S1. This is my S1 right here. And well, that's my charger. This comes with it. This is a Bluetooth adapter. It came with it. They give it to you. You know, $200 helicopter, and they give you one, and it works with their app. I mean, yeah, it's a little tricky to getting it linked up and everything, but once you figure it out, it works great. And even if you had to buy this, it's $8. $8 off of Heli Direct. So why in the world are you charging $50 for this turd? Now, I did see some on eBay that were kind of like some Chinese, I don't know. I don't know if it was like some kind of black market crap or what it was, but whenever you punch in the model number of this, the BLE2 SYS, those came up, and, you know, they supposedly work, and they were like $20, $25, half the price, but they were unbranded and shipping from China, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to risk that or anything. And even this was kind of hard to find. I had a hard time finding this. I had to order this off of eBay also. So if they would just figure this out, maybe if they would give you this with it, you know, maybe that would help, you know, leave some of the frustration or anything. But it's starting to kind of seem like it's a money-making scam. And here's why I say that. Now, I looked at all these prices today before I did this video, and on T-Rex website, they had these in stock, $211. Okay? Now keep in mind that this does not have any telemetry, and it doesn't have any rescue modes. Almost everything on the market now, even that S1 right there, has a rescue mode where you can flip switch and it'll auto level. Almost everything out there has that now, especially when you start looking at the new Radio Master Nexus, which is all open source firmware, and it's cheap. It's like $100 and some dollars. And it has everything that you need. Even the Icon 2 comes with a lot of that stuff. I think when you buy the Bluetooth version of it, that's more expensive naturally, because that's another chip that they got to add into it. But even it has all the recovery and the, you know, it has telemetry and all that. This right here doesn't have nothing, absolutely nothing. So the Microbeast is $211 without telemetry, no rescue modes or anything, okay? Now, you can go on and upgrade and unlock, I guess you could say, those modes through Microbeast. Like if you just wanted telemetry, it's $65 just to unlock the telemetry. And if you wanted to get the rescue mode, that's another $65. But you know, if you want both of them, you know, oh thank goodness they do have the Pro series, you know, which is only about $110, about €100, but by the time you figure it out to dollars, it's about $110. So you take $211, okay, then you add $50 for a Bluetooth module, which, keep in mind, you can't update this and you can't upgrade it or unlock anything without it. So you have to have this or the USB. But let's just say you got this, that's $50 for the Bluetooth. And let's just say you wanted to get, you know, the $110 version to where you get the telemetry and the rescue mode. Dude, you're looking at $370 for one of these things. And the technology hasn't changed, you know, the design hasn't changed in quite some time. So why would you spend $370 on this when you got the new Nexus coming out that's a third of that price? You know, you have Icon 2s, which are in the $200 and some range, and you don't have to do none of that crazy downloading and everything, and their system and their, you know, works a lot better. So, you know, I don't understand this. I don't understand why Align is still putting this on their helis. I don't know. I guess you know, you could get just a kit and buy all the servos and do whatever you want. There are options out there. It's not like you have to spend the money to get one that has this in there. But I didn't realize that all this, you know, was going on until I really started digging in deep with this, and, you know, started looking into everything, and I was trying to figure out how to unlock, you know, how to unlock the telemetry and everything, and how it works on Futaba, and that's a whole nother mess in itself, is trying to figure out how to get to work with Futaba, and how to get it to work with Spectrum, and how to get it to work with this and get it to work with that. It's just not very user friendly with quite a few of the things, you know. At least, like, you know, this goose guy right here, this little S1 and the S2, you know, the protocol that's built into that, you know, it'll bind right up to my Futaba, tell me everything I need to know. I can have it up and going in 5 minutes, and plug in that little, you know, included free Bluetooth adapter, and, you know, have my phone there, and it's not going to cost me any more. I don't know, guys. It's just a gripe. Like I said, it's irritating when companies are, you know, already charging a premium price for stuff, and then they just want to get more money out of us by nickel and diming us to death. And you know, I'm sorry if I've rambled on this video, and, you know, it's probably one of my longer videos I've had in a while, but I hope you guys, you know, watch through all this. Maybe somebody out there is looking into buying one of these, and maybe I can sort of prepare them for what kind of drama and trauma they're about to encounter, you know, with this thing. Knowing what I know now, they just make, I don't know, they make it so easy to where you just buy the combo, and it comes with everything. The motor, the ESC, the servos fit perfect, everything just works. And then you've got this thing, which seems to me like it's outdated by about 12 years. I'm going to fly it. I'm just going to see how it does. I've set it up. I've gone this far. I'm just going to fly it. But if it keeps on being a pain in the butt to me, I don't know. I might try that new Nexus. You know, I hear that thing is absolutely awesome. So I don't know if anybody has any if anybody's had any experience with the Nexus on these, or maybe the Nexus on like a 470 LP or something, you know, chime in the comments down below and let me know what you think. But till then, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I guess I've done bitched enough, and if you sit here through this video this long and listen to me griping and whining and complaining, then I appreciate you spending time watching my video, and I hope everybody had like I said, a good Christmas. I hope everybody is going to have a good New Year. Everybody stay safe. Watch out for those drunk drivers. And as always, until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Peace.